So when it comes to choosing a physical therapy school, sometimes it could be a little confusing because there's so much information out there, first of all. Then next, you have to take into account what you want for your specific situation. So on this video, I'm going to try and break down simple little things that you should keep in mind when choosing a physical therapy school. So here are the 4 things that I prioritize when choosing a physical therapy school, and the same 4 things that I've shared with students to help them prioritize their physical therapy school of choice. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the
What's up, guys? My name is Casey Coleman, physical therapist and the co-founder of Pre-PT Grind. And on this video, we're going to be going over the 4 things that I prioritize and I recommend you guys putting on your list to prioritize when choosing a physical therapy school. Now, this list isn't going to be extensive of everything you need to take into account because everyone's situation is different, like I said before, but these 4 things are going to be pretty major when it comes to taking into account what you want to have in a physical therapy school. So let's get right into it. Number 1, the cost. Number 2, location. 3, clinical experiences. And 4, when you can take the NPTE, the National Physical Therapy Exam. So, number 1, cost. That's the elephant in the room. Of course, you want to keep the cost as low as possible because 5 years, 7 years, 2 years, whatever years down the line, I don't want you to regret your decision to go to physical therapy school because you're in a not ideal financial situation. So let's just keep it 100% honest here. We don't want that to happen and you regretting that decision or bad-mouthing the profession or saying I should have never went there, anything like that, just because we didn't have a plan or you didn't take into account the full account as to how much cost can play into the future that you want. So now when I say cost should be important, I want you to take into account this. Let's just say you have 2 schools and one school is your top choice. 100% if you get in, you're going to go there. Doesn't matter. And that school, let's just say a number, $100,000 for the full experience. Okay? Then the second school, you like it. It's nice. It's good. It works for you. And it's a good school. And that school is $92,000 or $94,000. And you get into that second school and you get into that first school. I don't want you to say, well, I saw this YouTube video and they said to, take into account cost, so I'm going to go to the cheapest school because I'm going to be in debt later and I can pay it off. When I say cost, I don't want that slim a margin to impact your choice of what school you go to. Because when it comes to interest accruing and, years down the line, that $6,000, $8,000, $3,000 difference isn't going to be that big a deal. Now, if it comes to $10,000, $15,000, $25,000, $30,000 in difference with the cost of the school, and other fees, then we're getting into a more serious conversation of, how do you want your life to be? Maybe you should definitely take that into account when choosing a physical therapy school. So we can go into a super long, intensive discussion about costs. I'm sure I'll do more videos like that in the future. But if you have more questions, we can have discussion in the comments below. But that's number 1. I want you to take into account cost because some people may know that it's going to have a big impact on their future after physical therapy school. Some people are probably just like, I just need to get into a school. Just let me get in and I'll worry about that later. No, you should probably worry about that now as well. So that was number 1, cost. Number 2, location. Now, location can play a role into cost as well, because depending on where you live, that can impact, the amount you have to spend for rent and food and transportation and all that stuff. So location and cost pretty much go hand in hand, especially if you're going to stay with parents or a spouse has a job, or you're getting support from somewhere else, or you have a family. Location can play a big role into where you want to go to school. So for that first population of students who want to stay close to home or a spouse has a job or anything like that, of course, location is pretty major for you. And you're like, it is what it is. I'm staying here. I can't go anywhere else. Okay, location is what it is. Perfect. Now for the other population of students who are not too tied to where they are right now and want to explore and things like that, I want you to take into account not just location for the cost, but location for where you want to work in the future. Or if you want to go into a certain specialty and a certain region of the country has a better program or more access to that specialty, you might want to factor in that I want to go to this location or that location for my future, or for the clinical experiences that I can get at this location or this region of the country. So that's the second one, is location. Now, of course, we can go into a discussion in that topic as well, and we can discuss that in the comments. But those were the first two, cost and location. They're pretty intertwined. And I wanted to especially talk to those, to that second population of people where location isn't too set in stone for them, because they might be like, well, I'm not too tied, so how do I factor in location into my choice for physical therapy school? So that's some information that you can chew on and think about as well. So number 3, clinical experiences. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the more important things that you're going to do in physical therapy school, because of course in school you're going to learn the book knowledge, you're going to have practicals, you're going to dissect cadavers and all that stuff, but until you really get out there and start working on patients and having those patient interactions and learning about the business and learning about all this other stuff, that's when you really start to know and solidify that information into your head, into real world scenarios. So to me, clinical experiences are super important, especially if you already know that you want to specialize in sports or pediatrics or women's health or anything like that. Clinical experiences are going to be vital to your early success as a physical therapist. So you might want to know how their clinicals and clinical experiences at the school runs. How does the system work where you get to go and experience your clinical rotations? Do you have to go to a hospital? Do you have to do a hospital and orthopedic rotation? Can you pick wherever you want and do, let's just say you have 4 experiences. Can you do all 4 experiences in a sports clinic? Or are they going to make you break it up? Because that's going to have an impact on how you feel and how well you might like your program once that time comes. So, of course, we can get into that discussion as well, but when choosing clinical experiences, this is something that I would highly suggest that you prioritize, because when you get to that point, you are going to be either very happy that you chose a school that lets you do what you are interested in doing, or you'll be very disappointed that you just have this set of locations and you have to meet these requirements, and it is what it is. So I highly recommend you take that to account and do some more research into how your schools of interest do clinical rotations. So lastly, number 4, which is overlooked a lot, and I want to make sure it's in this video, is when you can take the NPTE. And this one kind of goes along with how long the program length is, but we can kind of slip that one as a subcategory into this number 4 as well. So when you can take the NPTE is very important, because at the time of this video, the NPTE, the National Physical Therapy Examination that you need to be licensed and work in the United States, is given only 4 times a year. So let's go into an example scenario. Let's just say you graduate in May, okay? And the NPTE is given in April. Now, is your school going to let you take the NPTE 2 or 3 weeks early before you graduate, walk across that stage, so that as soon as you graduate, you're already licensed, you got your degree, and boom, you can hit the workforce running and live out your career as a physical therapist? Or do they have some policies in place for some reason that, no, you cannot take the NPTE 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks early, then graduate in May? You cannot do that. You have to wait until July, 2-3 months later, to take the NPTE. So not only are you waiting an extra 2.5, 3 months to take that NPTE, but you're also missing out on 2.5, 3, 4-ish months of physical therapy salary or hourly pay. Hello? Do you want that to happen to you? Plus another 3-4 weeks for that license to get processed for the state that you're getting licensed in. So you're probably going to be very happy that either your school lets you take it early so that you can hit the ground running and start working and start paying those loans off or going on with your life or doing whatever, or you're going to be not too happy that that school is making you wait an extra 3 months to then take the NPTE, to then wait another month to get licensed and then go out and do your thing as a physical therapist. So this one is not talked about too much, But I guarantee you that when you finish physical therapy school or about to finish, you'll be very happy that you asked that question and found out that information so that you can make sure that you're doing what you want to do when that time comes to graduate. Now, that subcategory under number 4, when you can take the NPTE, I'll slip in there the length of the program, because that pretty much goes along with how soon you can start working as well. If you want to start working very quickly, then you probably want to go to a school that's shorter in length, 2 years, 2.5 years. If that doesn't matter too much to you and you just want to go to a traditional PT school, then, you won't mind going to a traditional, 2 years, 9 month school, or 3-year school, or a flex program where it's really stretched out. So keep that into account as well. When you can take the NPTE and the length of the program is really important if you want to start working early and start making some money early. But take into account, if you're going with that subcategory that I mentioned of length and time in a program, you got to be ready to hit those books, because it's accelerated. It's an accelerated program, and they're going to make sure that they're packing that information in so that you learn what you need to learn in those 2 years, pass the board exam, and be off and working as a physical therapist. So those were my 4.5 priorities when choosing a physical therapy school that I would highly suggest that you all take into account. So like, subscribe, share this out, tell all your friends about Pre-PT Grind so we can help more people like you get into physical therapy school and become great physical therapists who are happy with their choice of the physical therapy school that they chose. So hope that helped. We will see you on the next video.